So as we go on here in Jewish meditation, all of these things that the Kabbalists are doing are practical. They're things that we can do, things that we can develop. And I know that, a lot of people will consider me to be a senior citizen. And they realize that this limud is something that ripens as you get older. But at the by the same token, how would it be nice to have some background into this at the earliest possible age? I think that probably does happen with a lot of people, not necessarily learning the material that we do. But let's look at what Rabbi Mimran is talking about here. He says the Kabbalist, Rav Gektilia, and Rav Chaim Vital. And Rav Gektilia, I would say I not necessarily know his name, but Chaim Vital, for sure. So this is what we have here right now, a quote from Shari Kedusha. So it says, a person should close their eyes and detach their thoughts from all worldly things, as if his soul has left him like one who has died and no longer feels anything. Then he should intensify his desire to meditate on the higher worlds and attach himself there with the roots of his soul in the higher lights. He should imagine as if his soul has left his body and risen up above, and picture the higher worlds as if he is standing in them. The general concept is to purify himself from all physicality to the utmost degree, removing all thoughts from his mind and imagining himself completely attached to the higher worlds. Rav Gektilia, in his Sefer Shari Ora, and Rav Chaim Vital in Shari Kedusha, both write similar traditions passed down to them from their earlier sources. They write that a person must concentrate so as to elevate the 10 spheros, each one to the one above it, until he reaches the infinite being, the Ein Sof. He then draws illumination down toward them, to the very lowest level. Through this individual, then, light descends to the spherot, and they rejoice. They then radiate with the light transmitted to them to the root of the individual's soul, where it is bound to them in a measure appropriate for it. Now, this is a guide to the ultimate connection of your soul to its source. That's what he's trying to do. He says the individual must then concentrate his thoughts to bring down the light of that influx from level to level, until it reaches the intelligent soul in his body. From there, it reaches his vital soul and its faculty of imagination. Here, these concepts are depicted as a physical image through the imaginative faculty. The individual then understands them, as if he had literally seen them with his eyes. Sometimes the light that descends is depicted in the individual's imaginative faculty in the form of an angel speaking to him. He sees it, or maybe he hears its voice, sensing it with one of the 5 spiritual senses in his imaginative faculty. Now, what I hear him saying is that if I was able to, by using his techniques, and I would say, looking at myself and understanding myself, I would only do this at time b'shas hadchak, when I was scared about something. because this would cause me to focus on it properly. A real tzaddik, a person who could do this all the time, tremendous sacrifices of Rav Shik and Rosh Hashanah, and how he greeted all the people. And said lines and lines and lines of people. What a tremendous difficulty that is for a human being. But nonetheless, the ability to be able to see beyond, that's what we're striving for. So then we want to bring it down. We want to bring it back from the highest world into this shefa into the lower world. From this level, it is transferred to its external aspect. This appears in the 5 external senses, which are also in the vital soul, as is well known. The individual then sees, hears, smells, and speaks, literally with his physical senses. Regarding this, it is written, the spirit, and another word, this word ruach, which is spirit, it's many, many different English words could be translated by the word spirit, by ruach rather. The ruach of God spoke in me, inside of me, and his word was on my tongue. The light thus becomes physical. He who has the ability to be able to pull it down, so that it can be detected with the physical senses. Sometimes, however, a prophecy is only detected by the 5 spiritual senses in the imaginative faculty. All this takes place when the imaginative faculty is completely divested of all mundane thought. Now, that's a fancy way of saying is that we need to learn how to clear our minds of the thoughts that have to do with our self-preservation, or the defensive thoughts, all the thoughts, and just learning how to watch our minds, as Rabbi Mimran has been saying. From that point onwards, a person can receive information from a higher source than himself. Imagine the soul is like a very long branch, a long branch with its root attached to the tree and reaching to man's physical body. When man yearns to ascend to this root, if that is what we want, the soul becomes like a transmission line, an antenna, bringing information from the root. The process is very much like that of a person grasping one end of a branch with his hand and shaking it with all his strength. The entire tree must then also shake, if he can. So a little vort at the end, Rabbi Mimran writes, a person must concentrate so as to elevate the 10 sfirot, each one to the one above it, move up little by little, until he reaches the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. Wow. That's Baruch Fleischman here, Tikkun Elevator Kollel, in this fantastic book from Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran.